Welcome to another episode of the State of the Bulldogs. Another mixed week, boys. Another mixed week. The UTC heartbreaker, the Wofford shocker. Grant, Mike, how are we?
This week turned from, gosh, this could be really bad to, okay, maybe it's not so bad. I don't know.
That's true. Mike?
Yeah, we like 5 minutes of good basketball, but ended up 1-1. So I'll take it.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Well, we got a lot to get through. We're going to talk UTC, Wofford, give a little Furman preview, a lighter Western preview, and then continue with baseball. We have a little cheat code now since baseball's already started, so that's kind of nice. But boys, let's start off with the loser game of the week, the UTC game. Grant, floor is yours.
Moral of the story, we couldn't get any offense going. Chattanooga with the 82-68 win over Samford. Bonham had 18, Huff had 17. Frank Champion played a lot better down in here in Birmingham. They did up in Chat. He finished with 14 points, 9 boards, and 8 assists. Just not seeing that 8 assists. Yeah, he played awesome at Samford. Obviously couldn't score anybody outside of Ryland and Josh Howe were the only two in double figures. Josh with 18. Maybe one of his better games, 18 points, 4 assists, 3 boards, just 2 turnovers. Ryland with 14 points, 32 minutes, 3 assists, still 3 turnovers for him. But it was the rest of the team that really struggled. You got 8 points from Jaden Burnell, Trey Fort, and then kind of the loss of confidence you've kind of seen in Colin Holloway right now. Just played 21 minutes. We'll get into how much he played in against Wofford. But yeah, he's fighting himself, and it's not good when half the team's having trouble throwing it into the Gulf of America at this point. Like, they can't get any offense going. It's kind of a problem to figure out, which was massive. We'd hope we get to Wofford on Saturday. But yeah, it was just a offensive struggle on Wednesday night.
It was tough. Mike, what were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, that was a tough game to watch. It's a game where you feel like your team is down 20 the whole game, and somehow they managed to keep it within like 10. Every time we tried to make a run and get it within 10, UTC would kind of push back, and then somehow with 8 minutes left, we were down like 6 points, and then essentially didn't score the rest of the game. So just a roller coaster of emotion in that game. Love the way they fought really until the last 8 minutes, but we did deserve to win that game. So the fact that it was so close there, I say so close. I'm really, the last 8 minutes of the game doesn't count.
Yeah, it was competitive.
So close.
We cut it to 61-57. Josh had a big layup. They called timeout. The other end, we fouled 3-point shooter for a 4-point play. Then we missed a shot. Tech goes down and scores. Balloons back up to 10. It's like, oh boy, so much for that positive momentum that we had rolling. I didn't score. What score was of the last 8-15, 8-20, or whatever it was.
Josh was the only one who wanted to play. That's what was wild.
Yeah, he was the offense.
We shot 20% from 3, boys. I had to double check that. 20% from 3 is abysmal. It's abysmal. The sad thing is we didn't even have turnovers. 14-15, basically tied. Rebounds, we out-rebounded them a gazillion to 1 on the offensive side, which is crazy that we still managed to lose by 14 points. I mean, some of this stuff you can't make up. That's how bad it was. That's how bad.
Yeah, basically when you, like we said, our whole offense is basically, hey, Josh, can you go do cool things, please? Because we can't generate anything going. We're not getting help from anywhere else. We need you to go kind of create. Ryland obviously chipped in, but it was basically, hey, Josh, please save us and go do cool things, which we've seen the roller coaster of Josh Holloway. He's been a lot better as of late, the last month and a half, but still, you don't know where you're going to get when he's got the whole offense on his shoulders, which he played really well this past week, so credit to him for sure.
Yeah, he definitely rose to the occasion. It sucked. It was a losing effort, but was Trey Fort hurt at all in this game? Because it's odd. He was 3 for 5 from the field, only shot 1 3, but he only played 11 minutes.
Yeah, he got into early foul trouble, picked up 2 fouls early, and just couldn't.
That's right.
It just couldn't get into the flow of the game, and when he's not providing that offensive punch that we saw Saturday against Wofford, you kind of lose a little bit on that defensive end, so it's hard to keep him out there, especially when Samford was struggling to kind of stay in the game. You needed as much defenses out there, even though you were down like 15 or something in the first half, ended up being down 10 at the break. But yeah, just trying to find some kind of balance between defense, trying to get somebody else going outside of Ryland and Josh, which never happened.
Yeah, it was tough. It's one of those games where, if that isn't clicking, you're really leaning on Jaden Brownell to make a game of it, and that's just not fair at this level to have 3 guys that you need. One of them has to be on at all times. So, sucked that this was a letdown game because we had handled them so well and the matchup was so good the first time around. So it's just disappointing that they got us here because it made the Wofford, and we'll get to Wofford in a minute, but it made the Wofford game basically a must-win to stay in the title fight. And unfortunately, we prevailed, but my goodness, I mean, the vibes were low after this game, boys. Low. Spilled over to Twitter. Trying to have SoCon, or is it SoCon Beefer? What's his Twitter handle?
Whatever they want to call themselves. We really don't know who they are, but
we don't know who they are, and that's probably why they don't want to come on. But we want to have them on because they have an interesting perspective. And we'll get. I think that's more of an off-season topic because it's a wonderful discussion about the challenges and opportunities a program and a school like Samford present.
Shout out to Beck Taylor for actually being in the student section, wearing the handbed and everything, trying to get everything going.
That was sick.
Back to the conversation we'll have in the off seasons, basically just couldn't get student engagement for whatever reason. Like if you're going to campus rec games instead of Samford game, you're crazy. What's wrong with you? First off, campus rec. Why are we scheduling games during the Samford basketball games? That's a whole another off season conversation about the the communication between departments. Yeah, exactly.
That summed it up.
When the president of the university has to go in the student section, be like, "All right, guys, come on! This team is really good. We kind of need to figure this out." So it was cool to
love that though. Like that
was awesome
to
see him in the first row. Yeah,
with the headband on, which is worse, though, an intramural game or studying on a basketball game night. I think both are pretty bad.
Studying in February. Who studies in February?
Exactly. This is not Harvard, people. This is go look at Samford's acceptance rate. It ain't that tough a place. And if you're studying in February, boy, you might as well just drop out because you are toast.
Teachers don't even assign homework in February because of step sync.
No. It's a joke of a time.
Especially if you're a sports admin department, which is where I would say my circles will in. If you're studying for that and then going to a basketball game, it's like, come on, what are we doing? But again, that's an off-season conversation before I push this way too deep into that.
And I can't wait to have it because there's so much to talk about. And Twitter's a terrible place to have a nuanced conversation. So the vibes, needless to say, were low coming off of that Chattanooga loss. And, you head into the Wofford game and you get punched in the mouth early. And you're just sitting there like, is this thing starting to snowball? Is the season really going to crash and burn like this? But it didn't, boys. It didn't. We came back, and for the first time in program history, we won at Jerry Richardson Indoor Stadium, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, so Mike, take this game for us.
It was ugly, and then it wasn't, and somehow we pulled away with a win.
I mean, yeah.
Trey Fort went off with, 36 points? So
36.
And
13 to 17. Trust. Yeah, we're so back. He's so back. Everybody's back.
Dominated.
Everybody's back.
We slated Josh Holloway in the starting lineup for, I think, the first time when we've had a fully healthy roster. I know he started some when had a couple injuries early in the season, but they just kind of slid him in on the healthy roster, which I think that's probably saying Bucky wants somebody to try to spark the offense a little bit. But he had a great game, scoring 14 points, 14. On 5 for 8 with a couple rebounds, a couple assists. So, it was an ugly game early on. We were down double digits again, and somehow just let it up in the second half to pull away on the road.
It's awesome watching Josh really come into his own, because between him and Lucas, because we talked about, the 3 freshmen we had last year, Riley, Josh, and Lucas, and it's like, man, what are these guys going to be like junior, senior year? Well, for Josh, it's like, dang, look at this kid sophomore year. Lucas, look at this kid sophomore year. And so that's been really fun. And the dude, he really just can do stuff that other guys on this team cannot do. And I know that sounds simple, but this game kind of epitomized that. He made guys on Wofford look absolutely silly. And then Trey Fort, my God, like going from the UTC game where he shoots 1-3, 5 total shots. This game shoots 17 shots and drains 13 of them. I mean, my God, if he does, that's an unreal effort. And all the while, Kyler Filowich is making free throws, keeping Wofford in the game.
Granny style.
Wofford staved off the blowout at the end, or the final, when we made the big push, the 20-point run to come back and take the lead. Wofford staved off the runaway game at that point because they, for the first time all season, were making free throws, and it was so annoying. It was so annoying to watch him baby up that crappy granny shot. My God.
They literally brought in Rick Barry, the actual Rick Barry, NBA legend, to come help him shoot free throws underhand. And he went 6 of 10 until at the very end when he missed 2 and his team needed him down 2. But still 6 of 10 from the field, 6 of 10 from the free throw line. He finished with 18 and 9. But yeah. And going back to Josh, basically just what you talked about, Sam, him kind of taking over. Bucky did a good job again. What we saw at Chattanooga a few weeks ago, like getting those right matchups and getting those switches. Josh was basically just taking on any tall white guy in a pick and roll and saying, I'm going to take you to the rim and beat it. He ended up getting an and one, getting some easy looks, even dishing one off to Riley there too. So that
was a nice assist right there.
Right, yeah. So
and
it's good
kudos
to see
Riley for
growth,
catching it and scoring it. Sometimes with those big men, you're just praying they see it coming.
Yeah, get those hands up, please. But yeah, it has been good to see the growth of Josh and him kind of playing more calm, as Bucky likes to say, take some singles instead of going for the home run every time. And that's exactly what we're talking about when you made that pass to Riley for that layup.
So I just noticed this, but for the second game in a row, we won the offensive rebounding differential. Is that a trend, or are those just kind of outliers? Like, it doesn't feel like we're rebounding better, but the stats are showing that we are. What do you all think?
Good question.
Especially when you got a guy like Filowich down there.
Yeah. Right.
In conference play, we're third in the conference in offensive rebounding and then ninth in defensive. But 35% rebounding percentage on offense in conference play. So it's just
mainly just effort. Right? Rebounds is just effort. There are more opportunities out there to get a couple of rebounds.
Yes. Well, okay, yes.
Yeah.
But with that theory, VMI or Citadel and Western should be number 1 and number 2. But
it's basically how, if you watch SEC, it's basically how Texas A&M stays in games. They're like 350th in the country in shooting threes, but they're first in offensive rebounds. So
and Alabama,
like Mike said, they miss all those. Yeah,
who finally got exposed by a tremendous Auburn team. Thankfully, my gosh.
Yeah, you get more possessions, obviously, because more shots. Shocking, right? So you got to get that effort to go get those boards. Yeah, well, let's just say, let's hope it's a trend as we get closer to March in Nashville.
Let's just say it's a trend. It's a trend. We're doing better than we probably thought we would be doing. With that said, our expectations were so low because of how bad we were rebounding. And maybe it's games like this Wofford one where we had to have it, so the guys were trying it so hard. I mean, the one rebound that really sticks out was the one that Rylan had right under the basket. He was like, we had to score on that possession. And he gets the offensive rebound, gets the second chance for us. And that one really stuck out. But what a gritty win. Because you think about the momentum you don't have coming out of the UTC game, going down by 15 points or whatever it was, 16 points, and then coming all the way back on what was the run, like a 20-4 run or something like that? Something nuts. Season felt dead in the water until we got that lead.
Grant's over there talking for like 5 minutes on mute.
Dang it. That mute button got me. Dang it.
Sure, you had some good points to make.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth between show and video.
Boomers, Grant. We're the boomers.
I know. I'm going back and forth between show and video and trying to talk at the same time. But yeah, it was a 17-2 run at that point before Samford took the lead. Like we said, down 9 at halftime. And then we're plus 17 on the scoreboard in the second half. There you go. That's what I was trying to say.
Thank you, Grant. Yep. Save the season. Honestly, save the season, because we still have a shot to win the conference regular season, which would give us some nice momentum heading in to Asheville. Had we lost this game, guys, we would be tied with Wofford for third, for third, with ETSU right there. So the standings going into Wednesday. Here we go. UTC and UNCG tied atop. I think UTC has the tiebreak. Both teams are 11-3. Samford is sitting there at 10-4, so just one game back. ETSU is 2 games back. They're tied with Wofford at 8-6. And then Furman and VMI are tied at 7-7. I'd love to say that.
Can you say that again, please?
And VMI has the tiebreak at the moment, but they do play one more time. And then Mercer and Western are tied at 4-10, and then Citadel at 0-14. Who are they going to beat? Is it going to be VMI? It's got to be VMI. They're going to get the upset. But the notable games remaining for the top several teams. So UTC, they still play UNCG and a testy VMI team. But the UTC UNCG game is going to be big. UNCG has the most meat left on the bone. They got ETSU, UTC, and Samford. They play us at the end. So that's a tough final stretch for them. And then we have VMI and UNCG. ETSU has UNCG and Wofford. And then Wofford has VMI and ETSU. So the hardest path so far is UNCG. The easiest quote-unquote path is Wofford to win out. But I think they still have Furman on their schedule as well. So it'll be interesting. I mean, it's still within our grasp. If we went out, we got to be cheering for UNCG to beat UTC. We got to win out, and we got to hope that they beat them. If they do that, then I think we're the 1 seed.
That's our path right there.
Yeah, if there's a 3-way tie, we win that tiebreaker, because if UTC beats you or loses to UNCG, UNCG would be 2-0 against Chat. And then we win out, we would be 2-0 against UNCG. And if we're tied with Chat 1-1 since we split, it goes down to your record against the next highest team, which will be us 2-0 against UNCG. So we would have the 1 if we win out and Chat loses at least once.
So we need Chat to lose 1. Now, it's a tall ask saying to win out. We have been 1-1 for now 3 straight weeks.
Yeah. And Chat's not losing this week with Western and Citadel home. So it's going to have to come down to either UNCG or shout out the key debts on that Saturday as Chat goes on the road, both of those at UNCG Thursday, then at VMI.
3 out of 4 weeks. I think we had that Mercer Citadel stretch, but yeah, it's going to be, let me just say, I think my pick of UTC is looking really strong at the moment. It's looking really strong, but we're still in it.
We're still in it, but we also got Furman this week. So what does that mean? That's the thing. Like you say, went out. Like, yeah, we could beat UNCG again, and then those other games should be easy. I mean, no games easy in the SoCon this year, but we still have to get through Furman, and we always lose to Furman. So
always, it's unbelievable. But guys, this is the year because we beat Wofford at home. That's like the ultimate voodoo, right? Furman's, I guess they're both terrible. But we got one monkey off the back. Now we got to get the other monkey off the back. Jermaine did it last year. Can Ryland do it this year? We got Furman. Everybody remembers we lost the first time, 72-70. No one's going to forget freaking Nick Anderson's name. No one's going to forget his short shorts or what he looked like either doing it. And then no one's going to forget Cooper Bowser, the 2 guys that basically beat us. Nick scored 24. Cooper scored 21. 2-point loss. And the other note I have, boys, we committed 7 more fouls. Furman got a very friendly whistle, which we're used to. We're accustomed to that.
I guess our check to the officials didn't clear up in Greenville. It clears every other week, but didn't clear up.
It clears every other week, but not in Greenville. Our money ain't green in Greenville.
That's fair. Yep. Good job. Yeah.
So Furman's coming into this game. So with that said, Furman is not playing that hot either. They're 2-3 in the last 5 games since we've played, including, this is what I'm holding on to, guys, including a 50-point offensive output against UNCG, who doesn't have an outstanding defense. So if it's a regression to the mean where they shot up, all the guys who don't normally score went ham on us, I'm hoping we see a nice regression, a comfortable win, but of course that is not going to happen. Grant, what are your thoughts on the Furman game?
One more thing I forgot to mention. For the title race as it stands, someone pointed this out to me. In the last 15 years, that team that has won the regular season has either finished first or second in defensive numbers in Ken Palm. Samford is first right now. UNCG is second. So that's kind of like the barometer. It kind of is what it has been for the last 10 to 15 years. If you finish in the top 2 in defense and conference play only, that team usually wins the league. We got Chad in 5th place in defensive efficiency right now. So, but just something to watch for going.
That's a good stat.
That way.
That's a good stat. Also, when you told us that, Grant, in the group chat, I was stunned that we were number one in defensive efficiency.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunned. But
yeah, back to the Furman game. It's basically just stopping Bowser, right? We mentioned a few weeks ago, it's like Samford goes as Troy goes, which he did against Wofford, but then they go as at least they have one big man that kind of not take over, but kind of go toe-to-toe with Bowser, and Bowser kind of had his way basically the whole time up there in Furman. So we can actually have one of our big men kind of step up. I think that's the key to the game. Anderson won't shoot like that again. Maybe PJ Smith is cold as well. But again, yeah, it's stopping that big presence inside. It's just a matter of which one of our three guys, kind of hopefully Jaden can kind of get his offensive mojo back. But yeah, somebody in the 5 spot can kind of make sure that Bowser doesn't get whatever he got up in Furman. That's one of the keys.
Yeah. Mike?
Yeah, we got to remember that PJ Smith had 6 points and I don't think scored really till the end of the game, and he's one of the leading scorers in the conference. So
do we need to remember that?
No, we do need to remember that because obviously Bowser and Smith went off against us, but we also got the benefit of PJ Smith not going off. So let's say those guys regress back to the mean. PJ Smith's probably also going to regress up the mean, and it's all going to be a wash. So I still think I'm going to take us to win this game just because Furman got the whistle at home. They got some lucky breaks, not really anything against the ref or anything. I just felt like they had some bounces go their way that, probably don't usually go their way. And I think our defense will get it figured out. And hopefully we'll take that second half against Wofford offensively and take that momentum into this rivalry matchup.
And Mike, to your point, since that Samford game for PJ Smith, he's rattled off 5 straight games in double figures, 17 against UNCG last time out, going 3 of 8 for 3. He was 5 for 15 against Chad a couple weeks ago, but yeah, he's been in double figures ever since that game.
To break the streak. I'm feeling a nice defensive performance. I think we hold them under 70, score just over 70. We win going away with free throws at the end.
Yeah, it's the race to 69, basically.
Did we talk about
Evan had pointed out? Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did we talk about the free throw differential in that last game? I think we talked about the foul differential. But Furman shot 21 free throws to our 9, and they only shot 52.4%, hitting 11. But still, that. 21 to 9. That's absurd.
I hate that. Traveler. Oh my God, they need to go play in Travelers Rest. Greenville hates us. They hate in football. The refs love us. I mean, I'll never forget the fumble not fumble against Furman 3 seasons ago that basically won us the game and eventually won us the title. But man, that's an incredible discrepancy, Mike. Dang. Because I wrote down 7 more fouls, but I didn't think about how many more shots that equated to. Apparently, it was all those are all scoring fouls. Gee whiz. Okay. Well, I was feeling good about the Chattanooga game last week as well. Furman is not nearly as good as Chattanooga, so I feel a little bit more confident about my good feelings. Anyone predicting a loss? No,
I think they know that they have to win out, and this is the game, kind of like you said, kind of get that Furman monkey off your back and whatnot, and hopefully get a big win these 2 weeks before you have a big road stretch next week. But yeah, Samford, I need to pull it up. I can't find it, but they've won somewhere close to 50-something straight games when they get to 69 points first. So that's just like some little dumb Twitter thing that's actually turned into a real stat. You got to get to 69 points, and once Samford gets there, which they've had trouble in the last few weeks, that is where they usually shine and then get up there and
they're
able to hold a team.
That makes sense because all these games are in the 70s. So the first team to get there is now putting the pressure on the other team because the other team's going to be fouling at the end. That tracks.
Yeah, and against ETSU, we scored 59, 68 against Chad, and then got to 69 first against Wofford. Ken Palm has this. That's a 7-point win for Samford, so take that however you will. But
that feels right, like a 75-68 dub.
Yeah,
all right,
78,
let's get to Western.
Yep.
Let's get to Western. So while I wanted this to be just a complete cakewalk, dog walk, whatever you want to call it, Western is not that bad. And we knew that. But they really aren't that bad. So, granted, they couldn't stop a nosebleed against us last time. It was 88-69. Everything we wanted went in. Everybody had double-digit points. Brownell and Fort were just going off, right? Scored 88 dadgum points. Wood had 22 for them. And this was the crazy stat, boys. Western still shot 40% from three, and we won 88-69. That's how on our offense was that night. Western since then has not been that great. However, which is why they're sitting at the bottom. They do have, in the last couple of games, a win over ETSU, a close loss to UNCG. So there's a lot of talent and capability on this Western team. I don't think they necessarily match up well against us, but I am curious to hear what you all think. Mike, we'll start with you. Just curious to hear what you all think about this game. Because if we beat Furman, we're going to be riding high, and this could be the one that sinks the ship. You know what I'm saying? Like the one we should win handily, and it's just an ugly, ugly.
Yeah, did that happen 2 years ago when we had a chance? I think that's a while ago. Didn't we have like a chance to win SoCon 2 years ago and we lost a game we shouldn't have lost?
Yes.
Maybe I'm just confused.
We almost lost to Citadel one of those years at Citadel. I think that was last year maybe. But we actually lost to Mercer last year, or two years ago.
Yeah, I don't remember. I feel like we botched it. Anyways, Western. I mean, they've gotten better throughout the SoCon play. Since their January 25th game against the Citadel, which they won in overtime, they got crushed by Chat. But then in the month of February, overtime loss to VMI, overtime loss to Furman, 4-point loss to UNCG, beat ETSU, beat Citadel, then they've got Chat coming up. So they've been playing their competition pretty tight. Obviously, new roster, new coach. Just takes some time for those guys to like learn to play together and whatnot. We beat them pretty handily early on, and I think we will again, but it should not be as lopsided as it was in the first game.
I don't think they handle good guard play well. I don't really know how you stop that, but I think that's where we match up well. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Another guy that's kind of shown up for a Western is Marcus Kell. He was the SoCon Player of the Week maybe a couple weeks ago. He had 18 points against Citadel last week, 18 against VMI, along with 11 rebounds. Sorry, against ETSU, 18 points, 11 boards against ETSU. So he's kind of come on ever since that Samford game. He's had a couple of stinkers in there, but still he's been playing really good basketball. Western still has only won one game on the road in SoCon play, and that was overtime at the Citadel. So they do kind of struggle closing games on the road. Again, they should have beaten Furman at Furman. That's when Furman played in like that tiny high school gym, and they were leading until the very end. And they got in overtime. Furman got the win. But yeah, it should be a quick and easy game for Samford as long as they're on their game and, kind of keep the pedal down, knowing what's coming the next week, kind of make sure you get this one first, your last home game before you again get to that final week.
Yeah, every game is a must win. If we beat Furman, I'll be feeling a lot better. And that UNCG game is going to be really exciting, but Western feels like a trap game. Furman is never a gimme. It's going to be a tense week. Any other thoughts on basketball before we head on over to the Diamond and talk about baseball? No more thoughts? All right, let's get to baseball. So, team is off to a fantastic start, though it's Tuesday, and I think we lost to Jackson State, which is sad. Or Jacksonville State, which is sad. Because we were playing really well. I was able to watch the first couple innings of that game, and we were playing really well. And just looking at the stat line about 20 minutes ago, it seemed like we could not get runners across the plate. I think we're going to end up leaving 13, 14, 15 guys on, which is never a winning recipe. And then Brooks Rice was still struggling. He pitched an okay first inning, lucked out in the second, and then almost escaped the third, but they had like 5 hits on him in the third, or 5 runs and 6 or 7 hits. So still trying to find his way early. But we got the season sweep against Valparaiso. Valparaiso, as we'd said last week's not that great. So it's going to be a really good sign if we swept them, which we did in a couple of run rules. So this team is looking legit. Let's take one step back. Mention a few of the guys who we lost to give everybody some perspective on just how new this team is. We do have several returners, so it's not completely new, but the starting lineup so far has felt almost a complete flip. So just, a couple of the names, rest in peace, boys, rest in peace. Some of these guys are unfortunately still playing for other teams, but a lot of them graduated or are in the pros. So we got Garrett Howe, Blake Bortak, Carson Lohr, Josh Rodriguez, friend of the pod, John Anderson, Lucas Steele, friend of the pod, Joseph Salvo, original friend of the pod, was on the first baseball preview, was the ringleader for us. Awesome guy. Andrew Bennett, dude could crush the ball. And then Garrett Staten, Heath Clevenger, and everybody remembers Michael Ross. So a lot of household names on that list, fellas. A lot of household names. It doesn't even include everybody, but those are just a few that I picked going through.
Sam, and you forgot one too. Aaron Walton, center fielder, who's now at another big school, who's now at Arizona.
That's
I
right.
was looking through the lineups. Aaron Walton
could swat that ball.
Yeah, Aaron Walton did clean up for Arizona this past weekend. Lucas Steele, DH, that hit third. Garrett Howe hit eighth for Bama, starting third baseman.
Dude, we could have that's how awesome.
Insane.
That's how awesome Coach David is. He gets some absolute dogs in the door. We could have an SEC starting lineup if we had the NIL and the conference affiliation.
And Michael Ross was going to be at Florida, but he got drafted at least, so that would have been another guy that would be playing SEC or big time baseball. But
crazy.
Jason.
But a few of the guys that returned. So with that said, that's a lot of talent that we just listed right there. But a couple of guys that returned. So we got Heath Clevenger and Alex Gato on the mound. Jackson Harris, young guy. Colin Horowitz. He was the guy that we were kind of teasing last week. Originally came in as a position player, first base, young guy. Rumor is he can throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. I do not think he has made it to the mound yet in the season, but a very intriguing prospect. 95 miles an hour will play in the SoCon. That will play. That'll play in the SEC, not necessarily your Friday guy, but that if he can control that, he'll be an exciting guy to watch. We'll see though. We'll see. Will Lynch, I think this is his senior year, last go around. Parker McDonald, Jacob Newman, our catcher Hayden Perry. Everybody remembers the freshman phenom Angelo Prieto. Brooks Rice, trying to find himself. He came in as the highly touted pitching prospect for us last year. Struggled a little bit today, but we'll see if he can find his way. A lot of potential. Miller Riggins, our Friday guy, SoCon tournament hero last year against Wofford, and then Bodie Vale, Noah Berry, Cade Carr, who already has 10 RBIs this season, which is insane. And then Evan Steckmesser. So again, that's not everyone who returned, but that's, the guys who contributed quite a bit last year and then should be contributing this year. And then the notable additions, boys. We added some absolute duds. A fun one we'll start off with. There's two kind of just very fun names. Drew Drunkenmiller. So if y'all remember, he actually was on the Southern Miss team we beat in the regional 2 seasons ago. He's a pretty solid pitcher, inconsistent, and he didn't get that much playing time at Southern Miss. But hopefully he's a solid contributor for us. And then the other guy, Josh Learson, who was part of the greatest story in baseball last season, pitcher for Birmingham Southern, who made it all the way to the D3 College World Series without a school. So that's a lot of fun, and I think he's a pretty good pitcher. A couple of other guys. So the 2 freshmen. So we always have some freshman phenoms. The 3 guys that might pop this year: Gus Gandy, Gatlin Pitts, and Jake Souders. That's one of my favorite things, guys, about the baseball team is the impact freshmen that we get. And then a couple other names that everybody needs to know if they already don't. Michael Gupton. Dude just flies. One of the fastest guys in the SoCon. He had a double today, and then the very next pitch scored from second. So speed is going to play a very nice factor for this offense, especially with him at the plate. Jeffrey Entz, I think he's an outfielder. Can't quite remember what. He's a position player.
Yeah, he's started. He started at second this weekend.
Okay, second. Okay, he's a should be a very good player. So far has been. Trey Higgins, Cameron Keshock, and then Austin Tomasini. Some of the other big transfers that we got. Okay, so Mike had to drop, but Grant, guys who you are going to miss the most.
That's a good question. I think you got to start with Michael Ross. Like, anytime you lose your Friday night guy, your stud. We knew, obviously, he originally was in the portal after the year, ended up committing to Florida, but still a shout out to, I want to say, the Twins who drafted him the 18th rounds. Yeah, he went his SEC trip and went over to the pros and got drafted. So yeah, like, anytime you lose a stud like that with Ross, your Friday guy, he was your stud, he was your workhorse, had a couple complete games throughout the year. Yeah, anytime you lose one of your big pitchers, especially in mid-major baseball, it's obviously a big blow.
Tough. Anyone else?
Just guys we enjoyed watching. Garrett Howe, who had been at Samford all 4 years, he stuck it out. He stayed the whole time. Josh Rodriguez was also a JUCO guy that we obviously had on the show. You got to talk to a guy we grew to kind of love and watch play. And then John Anderson too, second base. He wasn't big. He's not a big guy, big second baseman, but the dude just matched like 5'10", maybe 5'11", just hit the baseball hard. So yeah, just some guys we had grown accustomed to watching, guys who had either transferred in early or were freshmen in the program that we kind of knew.
And you know what I loved about that group is it seemed like we got to see most of those guys for about 3 seasons. Michael obviously was hurt. Lucas was a true sophomore when he left, but we still watched him for 2 straight seasons. And then we saw, I think both Garrett's for at least 3 years, and then Garrett Howe for 4. John Anderson for 4, Josh Rodriguez for 3. So like you really knew these guys as fans. We knew who these lineups were. I mean, anchored by the Garretts. I'm pretty sure they batted back to back this past season.
It did, yeah. They confused all of us trying to figure out which one was which because they were right beside each other.
Yeah.
And they played positions beside each other. Yeah.
John Anderson just was an absolute unit and just could not be stopped at the plate despite his size. And he's probably the one I'm going to miss the most, just because if you needed a hit, if you needed a big hit, John was your guy. And that's the other thing. These guys were part of a lot of really fun teams. But hey, on to 2025. The prospects are bright. So Grant, out of the guys returning, who do you think is going to have the biggest impact outside of Miller Riggins? Because that's not fair. He's the Tab Friday guy. So anyone else?
Tab Friday guy. You mentioned Cade Carter had a big weekend this past weekend, 10 RBIs. But I think it's Angelo Prieto. He played a little first last year. Jacqueline Harris got a lot of those starts over there with a really good glove. I think Prieto is kind of the guy to watch. At 263 last year. Started 31 games, 850 OPS, 6 homers, 24 RBIs. As a freshman, he had that, much like Card did this weekend, he had a massive opening week with like 13 or 14 RBIs.
We
ridiculous.
thought he was going to be player of the year.
Yeah,
we thought it was like, this guy is going to the MLB. Now he's playing 1 year at Samford, but fortunately for us, he's slowed down. We like that guy.
Yeah, it was nice to have at least one returner. As we mentioned, Samford was replacing 7 position players this past year. Yeah, freshman. He was on the all-SoCon freshman team, from Miami, where Samford's had a lot of success over the years, taking guys out of Miami down there. So yeah, he'll be my guy to watch, kind of whether he can take that next progression as a hitter and maybe hit for a higher average, a little bit more power.
I'm with you. Prieto is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then, dude, Cade Carr, like the way he has started this season, because when you do replace 7 starters like that, you need multiple, but you need a hit on the transfers and the freshman recruits. But then you need 1 or 2 or 3 of your veterans who maybe haven't done much last year, the season before, to really step up and be a consistent contributor. And Cade Carr is doing that plus some. Now, granted, we're only 3-4 games into the season, but that would be very exciting if a guy like him could keep popping off.
And he's a local guy too from here in Hoover and went to Hoover High School. So
there you go. So there's a lot of talent that we do return. I mean, you mentioned Jackson Harris. Gaito has been there, right? Like he up and down pitcher, but he has the experience. And especially in college baseball, sometimes it's that third, fourth, fifth season where the pitchers actually turn out to be studs.
Because
I don't remember the team last year, but there was a team, they didn't make it to Omaha, but they almost did. And it was all seniors, and they kind of sucked 2 years ago. But for whatever reason, it all kind of clicked that last season. So you never, like some of these older guys, you just don't know. Like Will Lynch, that's a guy who we were talking a lot about last offseason. Didn't have a great season last year. It's fine. Didn't have a great season. He wanted to be a consistent starter. He couldn't do that. But he's still here, one more year of development. Will he pop off? Who knows? So guys like that, Heath Clevenger, same thing. That guy has been more consistent than the other two. But it's always promising when you have this many pitchers returning, even if, you go look at their stats, you remember some of the games, it's like, okay, well, they weren't that great.
Yeah.
Because the next season, that's what's awesome about college sports. It's not like pros. Pros is way more predictable. That guy sucked coming in, he's going to suck going out. But that's going to be someone. My point is someone's going to surprise us out of this list. I'm excited to see who. It's going to be a fun run. So let's get to the new guys. A lot of new faces on this lineup. A lot of new faces on the mound. I feel like we got half the team replaced. That's what it feels like. So a few of the names I have listed there. But Grant, who really sticks out as, well, outside of the freshmen, who kind of sticks out as an impact transfer?
It's got to be maybe our new favorite player, Michael Gupton, right? Center fielder. Ran the fastest 60-yard dash in perfect game history of 5.86, something ridiculous. Like if he gets on base, he can show off that wild speed. You mentioned the plays he had today, the double, and then scoring from second, like that electric speed. If he can just get on base, shout out Billy being a Moneyball. If he can just get on base, that's just a matter of just using that speed and, of course, covering that much ground in center field. It obviously helps your corner outfielders immensely, right? Just be able to cover that much ground. But yeah, outside of the freshman, he's kind of been our favorite guy to watch through a few games. As Samford is starting or has been starting multiple freshmen since the year started.
Yeah, what's nice though, Grant, is it's not even like hey, just get on base. Like he can actually hit. So he's a very fun name. I frankly don't know how he got some of these cats. Because mine was going to be Jeffrey Entz, the guy who I mentioned earlier. He signed with Mississippi State as coming out of high school. We got a kid who also, I'm blanking on his name, but signed with NC State coming out. It might be Gupton.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, there you go. You got two guys who signed SEC, ACC coming out of high school. Highly touted prospects. Didn't get the playing time, didn't get the results, transferred down, regathered themselves. And in Entz's case, went to Pearl River Community College, and now he's back, ready to play with the big boys. And he looks like he's going to be a nice, consistent hitter. And I think they have him behind Gupton because at least today they did. So that might be a fun little duo for us to watch. But I think the concern again is, do we have enough power? Because we lost so much power last year, so much power. And we are not Wofford. We do hit home runs. And I'm curious to see who's going to do that this year. It's not clear right off the bat. No pun intended. Out of the freshmen, it's really tough over here.
Yes.
Out of the freshmen, who are you most excited for?
Yeah, going back to Entz, he was our only position player on the All SoCon team. He was second team All SoCon, hit like .413 at Pearl River. But when it comes to the freshmen, I think it's got to be Jake Souders, who DH'd over the weekend. He's a local product from Briarwood. His dad played baseball at Samford. His mom works at Samford. His older sibling, brother, I think sister's in pharmacy school at Samford. So yeah, he's like a legacy, the same way that Jackson Harris, his dad, played at Samford too. But yeah, Souders 6'2", 210, can mash. He'll be kind of relied on to kind of hit that power as he started at first today, but he's been hitting a 3-hole this weekend. So yeah, just seeing him and see what kind of growth we can see for him. And it is asking a lot of a freshman to hit in that 3 spot when obviously you're making that transition from high school to college.
It's been done though. It's been done. And for a program like Samford that always has the best freshmen, at least position players, it's like you just feel confident that he's going to be the next guy, right? The next 1-2 year guy, but maybe he likes seeing his mom every day on campus. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Let's hope it plays in our favor though, because
the education's free though.
Grant's free everywhere.
Well, I mean, it's free. It's free when your parent works at the school. That's what I was trying to say.
The crazy thing about Jake is he had 4 walks. That was what we loved so much. Was it Anderson? Who was it that always had more walks than strikeouts? Was it Anderson? Or no, it wasn't Anderson. He went to Tampa last year because he got screwed by the NCAA.
But Stephen Klein, 5'9" first base. Yeah, he was another JUCO guy. Yeah, going down Samford's opening day lineup, just like let's talk again. We mentioned the guys you had to replace, but just going over the youth. It's the JUCO guy batted second. Gus Gandy with a true freshman at short. Jake Souders DHing true freshman. Jackson Harris first base, a true sophomore, and then you got Higgins in left, a transfer from Snead State, another JUCO. Our guy Prieto, and then Parker McDonald, another freshman. So again, that's 3 freshmen you got starting right there, and at key positions too, especially at short and third. So yeah, just speaks to the youth that Samford's going to try to lean on in the lineup throughout the year.
Yeah. This is an interesting mix of both youth in the lineup, age on the mound. It feels like the right kind of combination to have a special season, but we'll see. SoCon's pretty dang good this year, and it's unfortunately still a one-bid league, especially with how competitive the ACC and SEC are going to be. They're going to get an ungodly amount of teams in. And apparently the Big Ten, I'm not buying the hype because they sell it every year, but I do understand that they have some of the better Pac-12 programs now in the conference, so maybe that's helps. Part of the hype.
Mm-hmm.
But the Big Ten's getting a ton of hype. The Big 12 is always going to be good. So it's just so tough for any mid-major conference to get more than one team in. I mean, shoot, the Sun Belt struggles to get multiple teams in, and they're a powerhouse baseball conference.
Yeah, the SEC could basically almost have every team in the league. Like, it'd be almost good enough to kind of make it like that since I would say it's been with the new 2 edition.
Especially this year, if you make it to Hoover, you're in the tournament. So it's a tough road, tough sledding for the SoCon to get 2 schools in. So it's still going to come down to the tournament. And there's honestly 4 teams. There's 4 teams that could legitimately win it. But hey, we're one of them.
Yeah.
And if these young bats and these transfer arms can really bring it, I mean, that would be hype. That would be hype. There was one other guy I wanted to mention. He was the Auburn transfer, the pitcher.
Yeah.
He seems very promising, raw, but promising. Up and down
yep.
season at Auburn. 2 seasons at Auburn, I think. But, I mean, that's the thing. Grant. If 1 or 2 of these guys finds it, that's all we need to have a shot. But it's going to come down to pitching, as we saw today against Jacksonville State. 12 runs or whatever they finished with.
Yeah, you got to limit the walks, especially. That's what Samford and other teams in like around the city, basically, you would be struggling a ton with that last year. Just letting in so many guys on base. Your guy Horowitz did throw an inning tonight against Jacksonville State.
Let's go. How was it, Grant?
1 inning, 1 hit. 1 walk, 3 Ks. So his 3 outs with 3 Ks are pretty sick.
Hey, dude, that's a power arm stat line right there.
Yeah, 6 batters faced, 3 Ks. He had 3 outs.
Because I will say this, the strike zone was tight today. So if he got 3 Ks and only 1 walk, shoot, dude. And the hit was probably lucky. Probably gassed it by him, but the guy closed his eyes and caught the ball.
I'm sure it was a swinging bunt. Just casually got out there.
Dude, that's exciting. He
had Gupton speed, and he just outran it.
Because he's also huge. So, like, he's a intimidating presence on the mound.
6'4", 220.
Yeah, that'll play. Man, that's exciting. Now I'm pumped for him. We'll see. I mean, Jacksonville State, they were pegged to finish middle of the road Conference USA. They're not supposed to be very good this year. But usually that just has to do with the pitchers. Everyone can hit college baseball.
Yeah, and the midweeks are so volatile too. You could either You could literally score 20 runs one week and then score like 2 the next week. Like,
Oh,
that's
dude,
just how it goes.
so we were down 11-6 or whatever, and you're still like, it's the 8th inning. Oh, we still got 2 innings to go. We could win this game.
Yeah, like last year against Mississippi State here, we were down, or a couple years ago, we were down 10-5 and scored 5 in the 9th to tie it up. Like that's just how crazy the midweeks are. You don't know what to expect.
They're so fun. But also so stressful. So stressful. All right. Anything else, Grant, on players this season?
No, but when we get into the state of the Bulldogs, it's about to go down this weekend for the baseball team.
That's right. And I'm going to be there on Friday.
Okay.
Freezing cold.
Love that.
It's supposed to be like 30 degrees.
It's supposed to potentially snow up there tomorrow, Wednesday night, apparently, something like that. But
yeah, so I'm going to be hopefully watching a Samford dub, but epic upset.
Yeah, I'm sure Tennessee's Friday night guy is not that good. So
yeah, he probably sucks. All right, so state of the Bull, maybe he's going to be hurt. Okay. They don't want to bring him out to the SEC season. Okay, state of the Bulldogs. Grant, take it away. Women's basketball.
Women's basketball, they're officially on a winning streak. It has happened before. They've third straight win this time against ETSU and Chattanooga. Claire Johnson had 4 assists in each game. She just keeps getting better and better. She was the SoCon Player of the Week a couple weeks ago. She's basically carrying the squad on her back when she got inserted to the starting lineup. But it's also helped that Emily Bowen's been back too, so she's kind of led the way in scoring along with Kennedy Langham. So they both go on this week. They go on the road to Wofford and Furman. So the big week for them, especially last time out against Wofford. I'm pretty sure that was like a 15-point loss at home, and I'm pretty sure Wofford's in first place. So that's going to be a tall order for them this week. But
it will be. On the men's tennis side, we beat Presbyterian 6-1. We got Tennessee State up next. So men's tennis off to a very fine start to the season. Women's tennis is as well. They beat UAB 4-2 with South Alabama coming up on Sunday. Tennis teams playing well. We'll see if it continues. We tend to have a fairly strong tennis program.
Do a good job.
I don't know if we've played anyone really that challenging on the men's side so far, but nonetheless, promising start. Grant, softball, baby. Softball,
what a weekend. They had 4 of Samford's 9 or 10 wins this weekend for a perfect Samford sports weekend, which we probably should mention earlier. But yeah, they went undefeated in our home tournament against Indiana State and UAB, beat UAB 16-7 in one of those games. Their final game on Sunday, they were down 3-2 against Indiana State. They had runners on second and third, bottom of the 7th, 1 out, sack fly to right, a runner on second, advance to the third, a tie game. Indiana State brings in their ace who threw early in the week, and their first pitch is a safety, I guess in softball it's all safety squeezes, but a squeeze play called by head coach Megan Curry, and Michaela Cawthorn scores at the plate. So yeah, literally 2 walk-offs over the weekend. Yeah, basically 2 outs. We know this pitcher's not going to get off the circle that well and going to get the ball. So yeah, let's just try and doing a squeeze play with the 3-0 hitter. It ended up working, and the first baseman completely forgot that she could have turned to first for the 3rd out. She was so focused on Michaela running home. So yeah, big win for them there. Samford led on offense by Michaela Cawthorn, center fielder, Katie Campbell, and Greer Bruce. Jordan Partain's obviously had a good start to the year. She's got a 2.75 ERA. Sarah Bond's pitching well. Then Olivia Treese, the freshman, has pitched 7 scoreless innings thus far with 4 strikeouts. So knock on wood that continues.
She's good. I understand that we're only like 6 games into this thing, but so far there was, some unwarranted criticism about the hire, mainly,
from
making the jump. Was it from me? I thought I was parroting.
I'm just joking. I don't know. Yeah,
it might have been from me. I don't think I knew enough about softball, Grant, to form an actual opinion.
That's fair. It's big of you to admit. I appreciate that.
Well, just honesty is the best policy, right?
Good make up. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so in the offseason, when Curry was hired, there was some criticism that she wasn't ready for this, that, we shouldn't be hiring from Birmingham Southern, blah, 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 blah. 6 games in, 7 games in, whatever we are, it's looking good. She's brought a lot of needed energy to the program.
Yes, exactly.
Because we don't have like a completely new team, but they played like a completely new team. Like they have a killer instinct.
2 walk-off wins this past weekend. They beat UAB in the first game thanks to a Birmingham Southern transfer. Katie Hart had a RBI single to win that one. So, yeah, it is a team that brought back a lot of players, an older team, which obviously helps a first-year head coach. But, yeah, 2 walk-offs in your first home weekend series is pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, I might be changing my tune in 10 weeks, but until then, I'm feeling really good about Samford softball. And then baseball, as we said, hot start, 3-0 sweep against Valparaiso, lost the midweek to Jacksonville State. And then a big one, top 5, Tennessee Vols on the road, 3-game series. Talked about it last week. The goal is to not get run ruled a single time. If we don't get run ruled a single time, Grant, that's a win for us. That's some
I'm
nice
go over there
momentum.
First weekend, yeah.
Some nice momentum. If we do get run ruled, that's probably to be expected.
Oh my God! Let's hope we're better than Hofstra. That's for sure. Just going to that's who Tennessee opened with. 15-0, 18-1, and 13-1 in 21 innings. So,
I mean, look, that's just the reality in college baseball, where the rich get richer, and everyone else tries to fight up a weight class, which is what we're doing. 2 weight classes, even in the modern day SEC and ACC. It can get ugly. And so our boys are talented. They can put up a fight. I think that people should have a realistic expectation to have a close-ish few innings on Saturday or Sunday. Friday will probably be dominance from the first pitch, if we're just being honest. But Sunday, I mean, look for a close game on Sunday. If we're going to find a way to steal one, it's going to be on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday's
most
the day.
likely.
Yep.
And let's just pray to survive on Friday and Saturday. And I think if we can show that we can fight, it'll give this team a shot of momentum. And if not, whatever, brush it off, move on. You're not going to have to play a team like that until the regional, hopefully. So, if nothing else, a very fun weekend for the boys up in Knoxville. It's always fun playing the defending champs. You know, everyone wants to take you down.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know they're excited. SEC Stadium, let's go. Let's go. It's
going
to be
really
cold,
good atmosphere. Yeah,
it's not going to be people are not going to be there. Like, I don't care.
The high is 37 in Knoxville on Friday night.
Ooh, yeah.
A low of 18. It gets a little bit better, 47 on Saturday and 51 on Sunday. So
I wish I could go to the Sunday game instead, but here we are. Friday it is. Any other thoughts, Grant?
I forgot to mention softball has a tournament at UAB this weekend. They play 4 games, Southern Indiana, Belmont, UAB again, and then Purdue. So they're another 4-game weekend for them. So,
dude, if softball wins those 4 games, we got ourselves a squad.
Hey, they're 2-0 against UAB already, and why not just go and beat them a third time in 2 weeks?
And Purdue, I don't know how good Big Ten softball is. I don't think it's that good.
I'm sure they're glad to get down to Alabama and not have to stay up there in Indiana. But
well, I mean, that's any time of year. Who wants to be in Indiana? Anyway, all right. Say the Bulldogs is out. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Let's beat Furman.
Please.
Let's beat Furman. Let's beat the Vols. All right. Say the Bulldogs is out.